think so far we've made like 40 grand.
40K generated. How many followers did you have?
Like 200, 300. Revenue-wise, we were just under 10K. Some months we probably didn't even get anyone reach out. I didn't see myself like imagining 20K months or whatever that number was. I couldn't even imagine that. There was a lot of stuff I tried, like obviously cold calling, cold outbound, all of that stuff, and I hated that.
I remember like the first 24 hours, right? We got that lead.
Yeah, I remember we hopped on the call, you were filming the call, and then he actually signed. He didn't have any objections.
So how does it work? You're going to send the contract by email?
Whatever you prefer. I mean, anything works.
Send it by phone, send it by email.
And I was surprised. Like, I was the one pushing back on him signing because I'd never seen that. I was like, hey, where are your objections? It was, I think, my first client where I had not farmed a Facebook group or something. The people who come to you already sold, that was probably the biggest thing versus you're like working to convince that person. It's a cheat code. We can do anything and we're promised it. I remember one team guy, we've like 50x'd his income from his last place. It's honestly very powerful when you're able to support like a full team and not just support where it's like you're paying them minimum wage, like actually pay them more than they've ever made in their life. That's very fulfilling, and you can't do that if you can't get clients. If this sounds unrealistic or you can't imagine it, that's probably true.
So for everybody watching, who is Ismail and what do you do?
So I run a digital marketing agency. We service like local auto shops, it's like small businesses, and we've been mainly running ads and and stuff like that for them. That's basically what we do. We've been doing it for about 3 years now.
That's solid. That's sick. That's sick. And what was your business transformation?
Yeah, so obviously before we started working together, everything was organic. Like we just post on Facebook groups, wait for people to post where I would comment and kind of get people from there. And it would help for sure, but it wasn't like consistent, right? Some weeks we would get clients, some months we would get clients, some months we wouldn't. And we just kind of keep growing slowly. But I think when we ran our funnel, it was way more consistent. We're getting consistent inbound leads, consistent book calls, and then also consistently closing clients, every single week, every single month.
Damn, bro was trenching, bro, with the Facebook groups and everything.
Yeah,
what were your numbers exactly like before and after, implementing the funnels and the strategies and everything?
Yeah, so obviously before, revenue-wise, I think we were about just under 10K or something like that a month, and it was fine. It was just growing very slowly. I think with the funnel itself, we spent about like $1,500, and I think so far we've made like 40 grand. And the reason I say so far is because we keep making that because we have people on retainers, right? So the person we got from the funnel or the ads back then, we still service.
Bro, and 40K obviously is like, somebody watching this is like, okay, how'd you just like, just like that, get that kind of return? But for you, at least, when you scale to that point where you are now, like, how does that feel, right? You've been through everything. You've kind of gone through, you've seen everything in the back end, and now you've obviously gotten to a point where now you're able to establish yourself and scale further. Now, how does that necessarily feel to you, at least?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Obviously, you're making good money, alhamdulillah. That's the first thing. That's a really big feeling. Like, I can talk about the feeling of like owning your business, supporting others. That's one thing. The second thing is like being able to consistently grow. Like, that if I spend X amount, I can make Y amount back, and that's really good because you have control over your business, and you're not just like, just praying every day for like new clients. Well, you should be praying, but like you're not just hoping that new clients will be coming.
I mean, how do we meet, bro? Like, cause I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Bro, the story of how we met is actually kind of crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, this is gonna be so like, you're basically one of my first clients, and so. Yeah. How was that, bro? Like, what were we doing back then?
Yeah, I think
I was doing something else, bro. Like, I was literally pivoting from, and we could talk about this. Like, bro, I was literally pivoting from like trying to do like, what was I trying to do? I was trying to do marketing for auto glass shops.
Yeah, like auto glass shops.
And you started with like detailing shops and everything. Obviously, you had a few clients under you and everything. And for me, it was like, okay, yeah, let me just help these guys out. I know a thing or two about content and scaling you. But like, how do we meet exactly?
Yeah, I think it was just some random like coaching group or something like that, and I didn't even talk because we spoke a few times, and then I saw like some random video on Instagram where you were like reciting, and I was like, wait, is that you? Yeah. And then I kind of put two and two together, and then I guess obviously we got closer with time. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was just randomly in some group.
Bro, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how like complete full circle moment.
Yeah.
And just for context, like we had like this at the back in the day, we were grinding on Go High Level and like, you know, trying to like sell websites and like all that stuff. So obviously, like, you know, we're just trying to sell to local business, all that stuff. So we found like this mentor off Facebook groups, and he just kind of got us started and everything. We just found each other like, oh shoot, we kind of like, you know, we have some similarities, this and the other. Just started freaking messaging each other on Facebook Messenger, and then, you know, here we are now. We're in Vegas.
Vegas.
You're literally, we literally have Vegas in the background right here. It literally honestly looks like Mecca, bro. Like if you think about it, in the background and everything.
True. Yeah.
But here you are. You're here because you're literally an industry leader. You're able to connect with so many people in your niche. You literally have clients over here that you're meeting with. You did a whole client interview yesterday with one of your boys, and so seeing you established right here, obviously, like, how does that, like, I mean, fathoming that, like, you know what I mean, like, because when you start, you're just like, oh, is this gonna work? Is this like, you know, you're telling me like you just didn't know your way around with like trying to keep yourself out there and like, you know, spread, because
and what's crazy is like, first of all, I used to dream about like these events and stuff, and what I actually dreamed about was having some authority in the industry, and it was more like, you know, not the random guy commenting on Facebook posts like, who is this guy, who's this marketer, but actually like people, first of all, obviously wanting to work with me, but secondly, like like a few people at the event stopped me and we like recognized me, and it was actually pretty cool. Like I met connections and stuff. So just being obviously still very small, being a part of that industry was really, really good, and that actually feels good. That's the best way to put it.
It's all authority, bro.
Yeah.
It's literally just all authority. And I mean, you've come to a stage now where people recognize you literally at conventions like these, and you're literally an industry leader now. You're competing with one of the biggest guys out there. And so obviously there's a whole story behind that, you know, in terms of what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Like, tell me a bit more about like what problems were you seeing before we kind of implemented everything, before you even got to the stage now that you are now in this place. I mean, what kind of problems were you dealing with, like trying to get the business going and everything?
Yeah, so it was just like, obviously we had some clients, we had results, and it was more like, first of all, like because we hadn't tested it on so many people, like we first of all didn't even know if it would work on 20 other shops. That was the first problem, and that kind of stopped me from signing more clients. But secondly, like we just weren't getting enough people interested, right? And like the ones that were, it was like maybe like some months we probably didn't even get anyone reach out, like inbound leads or whatever. So that was the problem. Like it was like I didn't see myself like imagining 20K months or whatever that number was. I couldn't even imagine that. I never saw myself hitting that because I couldn't see like the leads or the calls or that volume. Like I couldn't see that, so I couldn't think of the output. Like I couldn't even fathom it.
Right. And I mean, why is it that you couldn't kind of solve those issues on your own, where, you know, you couldn't see that vision past whatever amount you're making, like just like, you know, stuck in low four, high four figures, right? You can't scale past like 5 figures a month. Like, why is it that you couldn't kind of solve that issue on your own?
I just didn't know how to. That was the main thing. I didn't know what to do. There were so many people running so many different funnels that I didn't know what worked. Obviously, I guess everything works, but I didn't know what to put my money on. I was scared if I did it myself, I would kind of lose that money. I just didn't have the confidence. Like I just didn't know what to do. That was the main thing.
And I remember you just, like in terms of filming, you didn't know a thing about filming, did you?
No. I would literally, like, he would text me like film B-roll. I was like, what's B-roll?
It's a thing, bro. It's just like you start to pick up on those skills, and those are the biggest skills that compound to, you know, the skill set that you have now, the ability to communicate, the ability to actually show people that you're the authority. It's all down to content. It's all down to, you know, trying to keep yourself as an authority, making sure that you are able to kind of show people who you are, what you do, your vision, your morals and values and everything, and people just, you know, connect with you on that same spectrum. Now, like, tell me about that content phase. Like, you trying to learn and everything. Like, what issues could you not do specifically during that? Like, how frustrating did that feel, trying to get through, like, you know, what is B-roll, what is this, how do I film, what kind of content do I post, what makes me look good, like all that stuff.
Yeah, so obviously, like, I had no idea about content, like, to start. It was just, I don't even remember what I was posting before. I think it was just, like, pictures of, like, case studies and...
Yeah, you're just posting screenshots.
Yeah, something like that. And I didn't, obviously I wasn't good on camera, but secondly, like, I didn't know about ideas, like scripting and all of that stuff. And I remember, like, you used to script videos for me and send them, and I was like, okay, this is really good. And even when you edited them, like, your editing style, like, I wasn't aware of any of that. So that really helped. Obviously, learning you doing it for me, but also learning from that experience. Like I would always notice, like from his edits, these were so good. They're so creative, so engaging, and that kind of opened my eyes to like the power of that content can have.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of like established kind of the main things when it comes to content, right? Making sure that people have retention, that you can actually tell a story behind, because at the end of the day, everyone has case studies, right? People have, like, bro, freaking Tom, Dick, and Harry outside literally has case studies, right? But what separates you from them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's.
I mean, it's literally about how many people know you, and that happens with, either ads or content or whatever it is, right? You have to create those awareness, yeah.
Right, and I guess when it came to you joining, like, what got you to kind of start working with me and really get that insight that you needed to kind of push through and become that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. I trusted you because you had done it before, obviously, and I think we did some videos as well. So I think we decided that let's run this funnel on ads and stuff, and just like seeing the results, like I think it was within a few days or whatever, seeing those followers come in, it was like amazing.
Right, and they're like industry specific, niche specific.
Exactly. I'd never seen like actual auto shop owners like following me, like seeing the content, going through the content, all of that stuff. Like I'd never seen that before.
And within that phase, like when you got those results, like what was it like in those first few weeks of implementing, like the first 3 weeks literally of implementing that funnel? Like how was that?
Yeah, I think we signed some clients. We actually got on sales calls. We signed some clients, and it was, I think, my first client where I had not farmed a Facebook group or something.
Bro, that's actual serious grind.
Yeah, like who didn't know me before, who saw my videos, and then who kind of DM'd me. Because even another thing was like I would never outbound DM anyone. Like I would never do that. And you kind of, I remember sometimes you would just DM for me.
Yeah.
And just to kind of show me how to do it.
I genuinely, like, sometimes like there's points you just have to lead by example, and it's like the best way you can do that by literally going in there and showing you, okay, you do X, Y, Z in this way, and the reason why you're doing it is because you want to nurture the person in 1, 2, 3 different ways. Yeah. So then it doesn't feel salesy. So then you actually build relationship and authority, and you actually have some sort of rapport building with them, and they take you over any other agency owner that's pitching to them.
Yeah, and I remember once because obviously you had access to my Instagram account, and I remember once like I would just open my phone and I would see a full conversation with someone and they were interested, and I was like, okay, well, how did this happen? And it turns out you were messaging them. And another thing I also noticed was it was one of the clients like Epi or whoever it was. Yeah. You just pitched like a way higher price than I would, and he was just fine with that. And that was another eye-opening thing where it's like he helped me like give me confidence to kind of raise prices as well.
What was that conversation like? Bro, I generally just told you, bro, you're charging too low. What are you charging at the time? You're charging like a couple $100.
Yeah. I think a couple $100 maybe.
And I was like, bro, I am seeing your like it's just raised to the bottom. And I see this with so many other clients, literally in all my other interviews. It's like these guys genuinely are trying to race to the bottom. They're trying to do as many discounts as they can, try to keep it a couple $100 a month, trying to really just make sure that they're just literally, trying to take volume through that way. But it's like that kind of like what does that put in the prospect's mind? Like, oh, this guy just isn't premium.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with their industry. Like there's people that, cheap drive everything to the bottom, and it's the same logic. Like you never want to be that. And that's kind of, I learned that obviously the hard way, I guess.
Right. And I remember like the first 24 hours, right, we got that lead and you hopped on a call with him, right?
Yeah, I remember we hopped on the call, you were filming the call. And then he actually signed. So that was crazy, yeah. And he didn't have any objections. It was like, and I was surprised. Like I was the one pushing back on him signing because I'd never seen that. I was like, hey, where are your objections? We're like all of this stuff. But yeah, I remember he signed like pretty fast.
Yeah, and like I said, bro, higher price point and everything, right? Couple $1,000s. Make sure it's a high ticket. And now here you are, you've collected your client's LTV is absolutely crazy. What is it? Like you're 5 figures now in client LTV just from these guys that we signed, because now you're charging a higher ticket. Now you can actually collect more cash upfront and everything, right? To keep your business going and everything with your team members, right? Like you have team members. How's your team? Like what's that like? Your actual structure? Because at the end of the day, it's not just you, right? You have a whole ecosystem behind you, right? In terms of like make sure your fulfillment is there and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's honestly very powerful when you're able to support like a full team, and not just support where it's like you're paying them minimum wage, like actually pay them more than they've ever made in their life. That's very fulfilling, and you can't do that if you can't get clients, and that's another motivating factor. That's another thing that helps. But like, yeah, you obviously to sign the clients you need the team, but also sometimes you have to sign the clients in order to build the team in the back end while you're doing everything yourself. That's another thing that I learned, that first I should sign the clients, obviously get them results, and then I can always have money to build the team.
Right. And like, how does it feel, obviously, being able to give back to your team? They don't churn with you, right?
They don't. Yeah, obviously they're loyal. I remember one team guy, like, we've like 50x'd his income from his last place, and he, they stick with you, and that's a very good feeling that, you have people that, you can support, and obviously they support you with their hard work and stuff. Right. It's just very fulfilling.
And you're able to work with the people you love and the people who align with your morals and values, right?
Yeah, like, exactly. You can pick and choose who you work with. You can literally build a really good family.
Right. That's the beauty of like scaling and everything, right? It's not just, just hiring some guy and it's like, oh, this, that, and the other meetings. Like, you build culture. That's something that people don't emphasize on these days, which is genuinely just like connection, culture, being able to, actually have something for the long term. Because if you don't have a team that sees the vision of what you're doing, right, who don't align with your morals and values, then like what are they working for?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, and so the first thing that you obviously implemented came in. It was content. It was just making sure you have the right assets and everything. Top of funnel, middle of funnel content. What's kind of like the first thing that you did the moment you kind of, came into the program and everything, and like what exactly is it that you implemented straight away?
I think the first thing that I learned from you was actually how the profile looks. Mm-hmm. Meaning like, you had to have some pin posts and what the pin post should be actually to get those people who see your funnel to sign. Obviously the highlights, like I was really bad with that stuff, like stories, highlights, all of that stuff, which you organized for me. Just the look and feel of the page to kind of look professional and make people want to work with you. That's probably the first thing that I learned.
Yeah, and would you say that's like the biggest thing that you figured out? Like, hey, my profile looks better. I look more of an authority. I know how to have the right kind of authority, objection handling content, case study content, all these different kinds, all these different pillars of your page. What was like the biggest thing that we solved that allowed you to really just unlock that?
Yeah, I think it was
the prospects being easier to sell and everything.
It was definitely the content, because the content has to be positioned correctly, and it was the position of the content that I think was the best, because like if I had put maybe my old content out, maybe it wouldn't have worked as well. So it was like the positioning, like having enough case study like videos, objection handling videos, like value videos as well. Right. Just a combination of that.
Yeah, because
like building a page worth following, that's probably it.
Yeah. And at least in your industry, there's people sharing value, but there's no one really going beyond that. Right?
Yeah, there's definitely good people in the industry, a lot of good marketers, and everyone gives value. It's just like trying to go above and beyond. I think that's important.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to, not just like value, because there's nothing stopping me from going ahead and taking your value and just doing it, and I think taking your clients, but it's really just about people who align with the same style that you are in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting clients who are like-minded, getting clients who share the same vision as you in terms of like trying to not just business but with life as well. Mm-hmm. Right. Your clients don't want to freaking go and rip some like stuff in Miami and rent a Lambo and all that stuff. It's more of just like, hey, how can I support my family? How can I, build those around me and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's the whole reason why we're doing this in the first place, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not for material possessions, because at the end of the day, like material possessions are there, right? But like, obviously there's priorities. Now, what did you find different about this compared to like really all the other things that you tried in the past? Because I know you tried. I guess you're trenching it out, doing outreach and all that, but like there's people before that you tried maybe working with or tried looking for help, and how was this different, in terms of getting that help?
There was a lot of stuff I tried, like obviously cold calling, cold outbound, all of that stuff, and I hated that. I can do it now, but at the start I just didn't want to do it, and this was different because at the time I wasn't good at sales, and for this kind of strategy, you don't have to be the best at sales, because like they get warmed up by your content. So that was way different, because the people who come to you already sold, that was probably the biggest thing, versus you're like working to convince that person to just like pay you a couple $100
just
bucks.
like going and like doing some crazy objection handling, spending all your energy there. And even then, like with so many of the closers and the closing experts that like we've worked with, what do they tell you? They tell you don't spend all your energy on objection handling, right?
Yeah,
You want to keep them as
exactly.
warm as possible.
Yeah.
How can you inject all the
It's just, I think it's higher leverage, right? Because you're spending less time one-on-one with the client versus like you have that, a lot of people see it, and then you get more like eyeballs and conversations.
Yeah, and it's really just about that. That's really just the biggest thing, making sure that they're nurtured, and you have a system that does it all for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is like I still have people from today, like even today, that entered the funnel back then that are close to buying, or like maybe they didn't buy back then and they're still interested now. So that doesn't happen when you just cold outbound someone once and then they're never in your funnel or your ecosystem.
Right.
That's another thing.
It's all about having that circle that they're in. Like, hey, you got me on long form, short form. You see my stories. You're getting nurtured every single day.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they're not going to
Exactly.
eventually, if not now, maybe 2 months down the line. This is something that people really don't focus on, especially even like when I talk to sales reps and everything, they don't follow up. They don't focus on leads. They just think about leads today. However, like as business owners, like the system is like, hey, I have to keep them there, and they're eventually going to come to me because they align with who I am, what I do, and the value I provide.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like someone told me it's like a football field. So like everyone at the 10-yard line, those are people close to closing, but like they're still like everyone before, and you want to keep nurturing them, keep texting them, sending them content, videos, all of that stuff, because eventually you're pushing them towards the line. And a lot of people just focus on new leads, this that, but there's so much money lying in your old pipeline. I guarantee if you like just text everyone who you've spoken to in the last year, you'll get like a client or two.
Yeah. And going back to like the whole thing of you joining, like what about the flip side? Like imagine, I guess, what if you didn't take that step? Where do you think you'd be right now? Like if you didn't join, if we didn't work together, if none of this ever happened, like if us just being here and all this stuff, like what do you think, or at least where do you think you'd be now currently?
Yeah, probably, I mean, maybe in the same place, because like it's a big it's a jump, obviously starting to run ads, building that funnel, all of that stuff. And if I hadn't done it, maybe I would have been in the same cycle of like, okay, I'll cold call this month, that's my strategy. I'll start cold emailing, cold outbound, just rotating between different methods with nothing working, and kind of staying at the same revenue, which is yeah, I don't want to think about it, but yeah, maybe that would have been the case.
Right. It's like you'd be in that area. You're just like doing cold DM, cold calling, cold outbound.
Yeah,
all
just
that
not
stuff.
having a strategy to focus on.
No strategy. There's no content. Even if you were to run ads, like try out some ads, it's like, okay, what content is there for them to watch? How can you inject? How can you change your perspective? Because they have a stigma of how most agency owners, most coaches are in the space. They're like, oh, this guy's probably a scam. This guy's probably not worth it. They're seeing so many things. Like, you need to have that thing that pulls them to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Which is content at the end of the day. Make sure you have not just content, but the entire ecosystem dialed in.
Yeah.
Right? Paid, organic, and all the assets that are required. Right?
Yeah.
So, now that we're going, it's end of 2025, going into 2026. Like, what's kind of like your vision for the upcoming year and everything with the agency?
Yeah, just kind of grow it. Obviously, growing is always the goal, but like, just more dialed in. Like getting better client results, building systems, and then just maybe spending more on ads. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's working. Now it's just time to like just spend more, throw some money at it.
Yeah, and for everyone watching, it's like you're like, oh shoot, this guy is like talking about ads. You have to understand, like, every situation is like very tailored. You have to understand, like, for this guy, he's in a very competitive industry and it's like very niche, right? And so for the guys who are watching and you're like, oh, I have a bigger addressable market than this guy. Of course you do. And so your focus shouldn't just be like, okay, how can I just go straight to ads? But it's like, how can I first, like he focused on building, like Ismail, like you focused on building organic first. Make sure you have the assets first, and then you can run paid traffic there.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the best of both worlds. But like if you have no organic traffic, it's like, dude, what are you running?
I mean, the thing is if you run ads, if you cold, whatever you do, first thing they do is click on your profile, right?
Right.
And if there's nothing there, then like, do you really think that they're gonna actually reach out? I mean, maybe some people will, but then you're just playing a numbers game, right? You don't want to play a numbers game. You want to play like actual like skill game,
Right.
if that's the right word.
Yeah. skill issue.
Skill issue. You don't want to have a skill issue.
Yeah. So smart guy, man. Smart guy. Great guy. So next year is really just doubling down on everything that's working.
Yeah.
Revenue wise, like definitely.
Yeah, I just want to double. Yeah, want to double it.
Yeah.
106 figures.
6-figure month.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't see. Inshallah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
For everyone watching, like, if this sounds unrealistic or you can't imagine it, that's probably true. I couldn't imagine even making 10K a month. Like when I started, it was like the biggest dream, right? And I'm sure that is. I couldn't even imagine making 5K a month. I was like, if I can make like 3K a month, then it'll all like start compounding. And once you start hitting that, then you will realize how much money there is in this space. Obviously, you have to work hard to get it, but you never realize that. You can never hit that if you don't make the first steps, if you don't put the effort to do all of this stuff. So it's like, even if you can't imagine it right now, just know that if you do all the steps, it will come.
Right. What do you think it stems from? Like these people, like in terms of like their mindset, because some people like to skip the mindset part, but it's like this is the biggest thing. Like anytime you invest into like some sort of mentorship, the guy's doing better than you. First thing you always talk about like your mindset, right? But like, like what kind of mindset does that stem from? Someone who thinks like that.
I mean, the first thing is obviously your faith and your religion. Like you have to actually believe that it'll work out, and if as long as you put in the effort, Allah will help you. And that's true. Like he said that already. Like you have to believe that. If you don't have that belief, then it probably won't work out because of your self-limiting belief. That's probably the main thing that I think we can actually resonate. That's a strong point for us because like, dude, it's a cheat code. We can do anything, and we're promised it as long as we put in the effort. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest thing, mindset-wise.
Yeah.
And the second thing is like, you want to stop being the person that is always thinking, okay, will this work out, and become the person that thinks like, I'm going to make it work out, or that thinks like that. Because if you join a course or a program, if you try a new system, like, and if you go with the belief of like, I'm skeptical, like you want reasons for it to not work, obviously it's not going to work out, right? But if you actually put in the effort, you put in the work, that's when it will work out. So that's another thing. Like you want to go into something with the intention of, I'm going to be their best case study. That's how I like to think about it.
Yeah. And we didn't even mention this yet, but the 40K generated, how many followers did you have?
Like 200, 300. Like something like that.
So
yeah,
I think it's about 400.
Yeah, maybe 400.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let's be a bit bright on the bright side.
I mean, 200 of them were my friends.
Bro, so we started like 100 followers.
Yeah.
And then 300 followers later, maybe 400 you got to 400 followers, and that's when the 40K was generated. And so from that is what it stems from. So for
you don't need thousands of followers like this guy. It's just you need the right followers and the right audience and like the right system, I guess. System is such a like basic word. I don't want to use it.
But at the end of the day, that is true. That is kind of like it's just like the whole ecosystem. Is it the right people? Is it the right amount? And so for everyone watching, like, though, this guy was telling you just like genuinely it's a mindset issue. Like if this guy can do with like freaking 300, 400 followers and generate 40K, like you have no excuse for the other guy on the screen watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and if I mean, anyone can do it, but like I've always been the person of like, I would rather disqualify people because I want to be 100% certain I can get this person results. And if I can do it with that mindset, then you should be able to do it even if you're like selling everyone left, right, and center. So it's definitely doable.
Yeah. And for the last thing, I guess, for the other guy on the other side of the screen who's watching right now, maybe you're on the fence, maybe you've already checked out a lot of videos by this point, and you've gone through a lot of my content. Now, for someone who's on the fence of joining and working with me and our community and our group of people, right? What would you say to that person? The other guy right here who's watching on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, I think if you have to think about what happens if you don't do anything, what happens if you don't change. You'll probably just stay in the same place, and like the same place for a lot of people it's okay, but for a lot of people it's not, right? And that's the reason you're starting this, right? So think about why you started it. Make the change, like make the jump, and then also put in the commitment on yourself. Like you have to be committed to actually making this work. But yeah, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Damn, some good last word. That's cool. That was cool. That was order right there. Man, it's good having you, bro. It's good having you.
You.
This is the first time we literally met in person.
Yeah, we did. First time.
For everyone watching, this is literally our first time. Like we've been connected online these past few years and everything, working together, and now
been trying to meet, but he keeps canceling.
But we've made it happen here in Vegas. This guy's literally an industry leader by now. It's so amazing seeing this guy, go from where he was, just like I don't know, followers with like literally all his family members to now, people recognize him literally.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Like obviously there's so much more left, but it's like so much has passed, alhamdulillah, and I'm very grateful for that.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Pleasure having you, bro.
All right.
It's always good. We're literally about to fly in a few hours, so yeah, man. For everyone watching, nothing changes if nothing changes. And if you guys have any other questions, leave them down in the comments below, or just shoot this guy a message. I'll link him down in the description below, his Instagram, his YouTube, and everything, and you guys can check out his content, see how he's improved, and maybe even get in conversation with him if you guys want to. So yeah, good having you, man. This is our second dap up, but always good having you, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.